So good morning, everyone. I'm glad you could join us. We're a small group this morning, but I'm sure it will be great. Hopefully more will join us. So today we will review what we've been discussed during this week. And of course, if you will have any questions, at the end, you are more than welcome to ask, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. So some of the things we discussed this week was communication culture in Israel. So in Israel, we could be pretty friendly, touchy, speak loud in high pitch. We use a lot of body language. Sometimes it seems like we're being aggressive, but it's not necessarily the case. It's just the way a lot of us communicate. So we use direct communication, and we will approach people by their first name. So as Sarah mentioned, you call us ma'am or miss. You don't have to, don't feel obligated to do that. We are used to that the people call us by our first name. If someone is late, that's perfectly fine. That's okay. So of course you can, when you message me, you can say Anat. You don't have to say miss or ma'am. That's fine. Now, with everything to do with your employer and the family, I recommend to ask them directly how they prefer to be called. Beside that, as I said, we can be pretty friendly and touchy between friends and family, and you're gonna say with the family, I don't know how close you will feel to the family members, but they may hug you or give you a kiss on the cheek or touch your shoulder, like they do with family members. You need to ask yourself, what are your boundaries? If it makes you uncomfortable, you should put your boundaries and say it, okay? It is very important to listen to yourself. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, put boundaries. All right. Now, another thing that we discussed was public transportation. We talked about it on the second recorded session that you received. And one of the things that we spoke about in public transportation is the RAF card, is the multi-line reusable electronic card. And there are three different cards. You have personal, anonymous, and semi-anonymous card. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's very loud. You can hear it?
We can hear it, but it's not bothersome. You can hear the thunder and rain outside my house as well. Go ahead, Anat. We hear you well.
Thank you. So we have the multi-line card, and we have three different cards: the personal, anonymous, and semi-anonymous. The personal card, you have your photo on it and all the details on that card that give you benefits with the amount of money that you put on the card. It give you some discount for every trip that you take on public transportation. Now, the good thing about the personal card is that, sorry about that, is that in case of damage, if it's lost, if it's stolen, you have insurance for your money. So when you go and want to get a new card, it's 10 shekels, and you get everything you had on the old card, all the money that you have, they just transfer to the new card. Now, in case of anonymous or semi-anonymous card, it's without your photo or your details. So in case it's been lost, stolen, damaged, you don't have the insurance for your money. In that case, if it's lost, it's lost. All right.
Okay, so I will try to repeat and recapture things that we talked about in our past 3 meetings. So we talked about what are the basic values in caregiving work: human dignity, autonomy, tolerance, empathy, and compassion. I think that human dignity is something that we all need to make our lives worthwhile. I think that people that don't feel that there's a sense of worth to their life very often become, depressed and feel that if there's no meaning to their life, then, it's not worth living. So basically, part of the care process that we are, that is our profession, is to give people the feeling that every moment counts, everyone is important, and all of that is about, the way that we treat them. So I think human dignity is the capture, is the caption, and everything else goes underneath it. It's not really on the same line. Autonomy, tolerance, empathy, and compassion, all of that are part of human dignity. Okay, so when a person feels that their life is worthwhile, every day is important, and that's part of our job to emphasize that. Next slide. We spoke about intercultural encounters. Okay, so some of you have already met the family that you're caring for and have already encountered the intercultural experience of how different it is, how everything is different, right? Sounds, smells, everything around us. Obviously, nature and the scenery that you're, not used to. But you must take into account that, basic human nature, I think, is the same in all cultures. So very important to be minded about trying to find out what are the important things in your employer's life, what makes them comfortable, feel safe, feel relaxed. And all of that is about the 5 senses, right? Every culture has its own way of expressing itself. Every culture has its own ways of defining conflict, passing messages, resolving conflict, and talking about it. Every culture has its own way to express emotions and to talk about it. But I say again, the 5 senses, smell, touch, hear, sight, are all part of what makes us, respond and relate no matter what culture we're in. So basically, part of the job is to learn what are those special things that make a person comfortable, relaxed, and feel safe. And that's a process that you're on a journey to begin to understand about your employer and their family. Next slide. Visas. Oh, very important.
So yes, the visas are very important, and we discussed about visas and visas extensions. You have it on your recorded sessions on rights and obligations that I sent on Friday. Now, we won't be able to go over all the details, and there's a lot of details. So please make sure to watch the recorded sessions and check your contract, because you have all the information over there. Now, I like to point out a few things. We have, or we can see the geographic limitation that you have on your passport, on your visa. It is very important to make sure that you are staying and working within the geographic limitation. Now, if there is any problems, please contact the call center, because as I know, some already started working in some locations, and then the employer moved to a different location outside the geographic limitation. So I know we have some cases like that already, and please contact the call center. Now, besides that, there are many more details we can talk about. If you like to change your employer or change your placement agency, it's also possible. In case you like to change your employer, it should be within the geographic limitation area. So please make sure to follow the rules. Now, in case you like to leave or change your employer, please make sure that in case you have any issue, problems, something that's bothering you and needs to be solved, please don't wait for the family to understand or guess. Please make sure to talk about the problems that you may have and bring it up to the family or to your employer. Try to discuss, find solution, give them the opportunity to find a solution and work it out. If you have any problem and you see that it cannot be solved with the employer, please contact your agency, your contact person from your agency. You can contact the social worker. In case you feel that still there is nothing that can be done and you cannot solve, only after having made a genuine and sincere attempt, you carry out your work and your contract, and you'll be able to give resignation letter, and you must give a prior written notice. Okay, so for the first 3 months, you have to give 7 days. Please make sure that also you know the details, read your contract, and if you have any further questions, please contact the call center. So the things we discussed, we spoke about the prior written notice that you have to give your employer in case you like to leave. We spoke about the geographic limitation in case you like to change the employer. And now, in case you find yourself change your employer often, I want you to just know that there is a special supervision for foreign caregivers, and PIBA have the everything that if you change employer, if something is happening, they've been informed. So if they will see that you frequently change your employer, you may be asked to come to a hearing. And now there is requirement concerning I can't see registration by foreign caregiver placement agency in case you like to change your placement agency. And now, as I said, if you like to change your placement agency, I just want to make sure that you understand that they need to be registered with PIBA. So there is a list. The call center have a list, or if you're not sure, you can contact the call center and they will help you with the full list and all names of the placement agencies that are registered by the law. Due to the COVID-19 situation, it is important to be aware of the new guidance of Ministry of Health. I sent you the link about a week ago on Thursday after our first meeting. I sent you 2 links for COVID and Ministry of Health. So please make sure that you have the current details. Now on Sunday, you received the recorded session for the call center. When you first arrived to the airport, I gave you cards for the call center. So if you like to go back and rewatch the recorded session, I recommend to do so. In any case, I will repeat that the card you received, you have the details on the card, and I send you a direct link. When you get your Israeli SIM card, I know that all of you already have their Israeli SIM card. Please make sure to register with that Israeli SIM card. In case you like to change your number or you have a new SIM card, please make sure to register again, and it will delete the old number. And beside that, if you like to make a complaint or need help finding any details about your contract or your rights and obligations and the agency obligations, everything related to rights and obligations and other questions as well, the call center is there for you. So please don't hesitate to contact them. I can send you a link for the hotline where you can write. You don't have to call and then they will call you back, because there are several ways to contact them. And a reminder that they will stay in touch with you as well. If PIBA will publish new information related to you, if it's something related to your rights or your contract, they will send that information to you.
Okay. What else did we speak about? We spoke about building and developing the relationship with our employer or patient. So what were the steps we discussed? Creating good communication. This is very important, obviously. Okay, and communication, as we said, is verbal and also nonverbal, right? So we have to use all of our senses, listening and learning the cues that all of our employers and family members are, are presenting to us. Coordination of expectations, very important. Sometimes it's difficult because people have expectations that are not really spoken about. So again, we have to use our emotional tools to try to understand what it is that they expect, even if they don't say it, right? And also to be aware of our own expectations, building trust. 5 stars next to trust. We all know how important that is in any relationship with anyone, anything living. We must have trust, even with cats, right, Anat? And
Trust them.
pardon me, say
I
again.
don't longer trust them.
And of course, creating the caregiving alliance. Okay, so that means that you have trust, you have coordination of expectations, and then you have the alliance. Okay, what everyone is committed to do, take care of each other. You also need to be taken care of, obviously, and they need your care as well. And taking into account social and cultural components, as I said before, depending on what the family's background is, what their needs are, what their resources are, what their traditions are about food, about everything, our job to learn and to fit ourselves into their rhythm, into their pattern, into their lifestyle. Okay. Next. Right. So tools for effective communication. Understanding how others communicate can be a key to getting your message across to them. In order to develop effective communication style, here are a few tips to keep in mind. Take ownership, use the I statement, maintain eye contact, right? We talked about that. Even if you're shy, look the person in the eye and smile. Gotta smile all the time. Voice your needs and desires confidently, and you gotta smile. We say that over and over again. And of course, remember what we talked about. There are many types, many styles of communication, and that really transcends all cultures. People sometimes are aggressive, sometimes they're introverted, sometimes they're passive aggressive, right? They send off double messages. And of course, we want to be assertive, and hopefully our employers and the family members will also be assertive, and that would be the best way to communicate. So tools for effective communication. Number one, active listening, right? Active listening is not just hearing what the noise is, but really trying to listen to what a person is saying by all his being, okay? His body language, the words that he says, and everything else about him tells us his story, okay? We want to hear about his thoughts, his opinions, not to make assumptions, and definitely not to make judgments. Reflection, in order to make sure that we understood our patient and what he meant. We want to say, I understand that so-and-so, and also use the words that they use. Sometimes repeating their words gives a person a feeling of affirmation that he really has been heard and understood. Empathy, very important to try to be empathetic, to understand a person's pain, his concern, perhaps he has loss, and hopefully he has happiness as well. So you want to share in his emotional and psychological life as well. If you understand what's going on in his head and in his heart, you'll be a better caregiver, and that is what we all aim to do. And of course, the I message. When you talk about your opinions and thoughts, use the I, okay? Not an absolute truth, it's what you feel, what we feel, and then we have a discussion. More tools. Number one, patience, right? We all have to have a lot of patience with our client, with our employer, with his family, and most of all with ourselves, right? We got to be patient. It's going to take time for us to learn. We're going to make mistakes, and it's okay, but you have to be patient. This situation is new to them, and it takes time to get to know each other. It's a process. Think of it as a dance. 1 step forward, 2 back, and then 2 steps forward and 1 back, okay? And then slowly you get into the rhythm of their life pattern, and it'll be fine. It's okay to disagree and make conversation about it. Try to be tolerant. Toleration is also very important. You have to understand that most of these families, if this is the first time they've had a care worker in their home, never had a Christian person in their home, never had someone from a foreign country in their home, this is their safe place. We all have, misconceptions about young people, old people, Christians, non-Jewish people, they're this, they're that, strangers, we have different ideas about. Once we know a person on a personal, emotional level, all of that is totally irrelevant. So you must give your employer also time to get to know you, to trust you, and so on. And then there's the nonverbal communication that's so important, right? All of that. You look a person in the eye and they smile, they say that the eyes are the windows to the heart. So give them a chance to get to know your heart. So you got to smile a lot and look a person in the eye. And of course, when talking to a patient, maintain eye contact, try to speak at eye level, relax speech, calm your tone of voice, use short sentences, one message at a time, and you'll be fine. Tips for creating good relationships. Be mindful of how you start a conversation. Ask open questions. Use the I statement. Be specific in the message that you want to transfer, okay? And give others the attitude that you want to receive. I think that is the truth of all relationships, right? We want to be treated and we want to treat people in the same exact way.
Down. Okay. Unmute now. All right, so culture shock. When you arrive into a new country, it takes time to adjust, especially when you move to a new country. You didn't came here to travel. I do encourage you to travel, but the reason you came here is to work. No, it may be difficult at first. Some will experience it different than others, but it's not easy. It's not easy to stay away from your loved ones in a new culture, new food, new sound of the language. It's different. We are aware, and we want you to know that it's okay. It takes time. And the thing we can recommend is to simply be a tourist. Take it as a lifetime experience that you're going to have right now for the next few years, and it's going to be exciting and hard sometimes, and you will express and feel so many emotions, and it's okay. Just be a tourist, travel, get to know the area where you live. If it's the street and the buses and the time, the schedule and the supermarket and the country, you're going to live in the next few years in a beautiful country. So travel, and get to know the country, the people, the food, and soak in the culture. Make sure that you're on mute. So as I said, soak in the culture. Make sure that you give yourself the chance to enjoy it. Study the local language. It will help you a lot with your employer, of course, but also when you move around in the country, in the store, at the doctor's office. Oh man. Sorry about that. So just get to know the language, the Hebrew, and how it sounds, and start to get comfortable around Hebrew. And we say just practice few words a day, or a few words a week, it doesn't matter, just practice. You will hear words and you will hear them again and again and again, because they're common words where being used a lot. So practice with your friends. I think it will be wonderful and it will help you a lot. And develop a social life and meet new people. If it's when you go outside with your employer to the park and you get to meet other people, other caregivers, other people, wherever you go, you will find new people. Don't hesitate to make connections, make new friends. I encourage that. You may find friends for life. And make sure that you maintain those social life with your friends. If it's the group that you came here with, the batch that you're here with, or your community of everyone who came through the bilateral agreement, you're a big group now and you can support one another. And it's a big deal. It's huge to have something like that. So have each other's back. It's another thing. Now be proactive about your physical health. Pay attention to your diet, hygiene, get regular rest, exercise, and relax. Find a way to relax. Do something that you like. If it's dancing in your room, listen to music. Make sure to do something for yourself. It will help you. Another thing you can do is to keep a diary or a blog in social media. And now we discussed it already, but I just like to repeat, and Sarah may talk about it later on as well, that in case you upload photos on social media or on your blog, please make sure to respect your employer, their family, their privacy. You need to have their approval or the family approval to upload photos. You can blur the faces, but please make sure that you keep them in private, give them their privacy and dignity, and you're here for them and they need you and they trust you. So please make sure to follow those basic rules. Now, another thing is that it's important to keep in touch with the family and friends and events back at home. So related to that, communication with family in distance. It ain't easy to maintain those relationships. At the beginning, you may speak a lot, but sometimes at some point you speak less. Make sure that you set up a specific time, if it's a day or an hour for a duration of the call, but make sure that you'll be there on time. You can stay flexible, but be there on time. Be there for your family and friends back at home. If you have kids, you can try to talk to them after they come back from school, or wake them up in the morning before they go to bed, if it's to read them a story, but make sure to stay involved in their lives. And the same with your friends back at home. I don't think you will forget about them, but sometimes, and I'm not saying something like that may happen, it's just that we let things go, and we sometimes after a while we don't do the same, we don't have the same routine, and we neglect things. The same with relationships and friends. So please make sure there to support you. You are here for them. Make sure to maintain those relationships and work hard. If you see that there's some argument or a big decision, be there, be involved, and make sure not to do it by text messages, do it by video calls. So people will see your expression, hear your tone, and the way you communicate, and find a way that they will understand you, that you will not be misunderstood, and vice versa. Make sure that you understand them. Now, we did not receive any questions, so I invite you to ask questions if you have any. You're more than welcome to ask. And I'm happy to see that more joined us to the meeting. Any concerns? Something that you'd like to share? Oh, yes. Hi, Anela Florence. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I just want to ask, is it the agency who is going to, am I going to ask if can I get the booster here?
And probably the family
Or the
will
family?
help you coordinate.
Okay.
Okay, because you covered by the insurance, so you will get the booster, and they will just help you coordinate it.
Okay.
And also check with the placement with the contact person from your agency
I will
who can
ask.
help you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else?
If no one has questions, I'd like to tell you a few more things you might find helpful. First of all, you're all going to be covered by this, the same health insurance that all of us here in Israel are covered by. We have these health organizations that we join at one point in our life, and then they usually give us all the services that we need. So you should have no concerns about your own health and receiving any kind of medical attention that you may need over time. And also you must know that because our medical facilities are very modern, absolutely, probably in the 5-10 in the world in all areas. Also, medical equipment is relatively available at almost no charge, if at all. So if you find that you need some kind of assistance in, I don't know, wheelchairs or any other kind of instruments that will make your job easier and perhaps facilitate care for your employer, then you must speak about it either to the family or to the nurse in the care clinic that you're receiving medication and so on for your employer. And it should be no problem to have any kind of assisting products, okay, that can help you. And the other thing I want to talk to you about is just in general, the whole world is going into, again, another cycle of corona, and everybody is being isolated. Here in Israel, we closed off the borders. Everybody has family somewhere else, believe me. Everybody has family somewhere else, whether they're 5 miles away or 5,000 miles away or 50,000 miles away. So, we're all in the same boat. And I encourage you to try to find the overlapping emotional connections with the people that you are able to, to be in contact with. So far, we don't have any restrictions here in Israel about going out and going shopping, and being out in the street and so on. So take advantage of it. Well, perhaps not today. Today's raining and cold, but in a day or two, it'll pass. And so Yes, take advantage of everything that is possible, to be out in the sun, to be out talking to people, trying to make interactions, making friends with anyone and everyone around you, very important, okay? And I think the whole world is in that same situation. The fact that you're in a different country, perhaps you're even safer than in other places. So, so be minded that you also have another tool. Perhaps I spoke about this, but I want to emphasize that the way that we are all interconnecting in the world today is through the internet. And I would, suggest, perhaps I'm wrong, but most of your employers are not that savvy on the internet. And if they don't have the use of English and so on, so you can facilitate that for them and make their world and their life that much richer and bigger by trying to assist them to connect with their friends, their family, subjects of interest, concerts, music, lectures, travel. Everything is possible, as you know, through the internet. So this is going to be part of your world, and try to make it a little bit more part of their world as well. I think it's going to be a win-win situation if you take into account that this is another, subject that you may want to offer, your help with. Not just cleaning, bathing, cooking, and that, try to help them use, all of that. And if you don't have the equipment at home, ask the family to provide it for you. I think most homes in Israel today are, connected to the internet, and definitely the place that you're going to be at. So, yeah, this is something very important that believe me, I could use help as well. And so could all of your employers. Any other questions about religion, Shabbat, politics, anything at all? You're welcome to ask, ladies and gentlemen.
The weather. Something. No. All right. Well, you are always welcome to ask. You're always welcome to ask questions. All right. So, as I said, okay. As I said, I sent you the link for the call center about a week ago. I can send it again. Here you have the registration link. And of course, you can contact the call center. You have this number, you have the CME hotline, which I can send you the link as well. And the Viber group that we are available on that Viber group. And now, I like to thank everyone for participating. I'm happy that you could join us. I think it's wonderful, and I hope it will assist you along the way, and the way that you did join. I hope you will watch the recorded sessions. They will stay available for you, and as long as you need it, it's on YouTube. Later in the next few months, we will have another orientation program. We will have only 4 meetings, and it's not going to be intense as this one. Different subjects, and I will share the information with you later on. Hopefully everyone be able to join. And anyone else like to add something? All right, everyone.
Enjoy the rest of the day. Good luck to you all. And welcome to our caregiving community. I'm sure you're going to do just fine.
See you,
Thank you,
everyone.
ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Toda raba.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Lehitraot. We say.
Lehitraot.
Lehitraot.
Lihitraot.
Lehitraot.